seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break.
Alright, what's up guys? Cameron Fous here with FousAlerts.com. It is March 19th, it's Wednesday. It's been a start to another awesome week. I'm already up about $15,000 so far this week. Made about $10,000 yesterday, $2,500 yesterday, or $10,000 on Monday, $2,500 yesterday. I was up about $5,000 today, and then I dropped back some profits today. It was the FOMC meeting today, where stocks just absolutely tanked about 150 points there in a matter of minutes. So you always got to be careful with those FOMC meetings. But what I wanted to talk about today is being able to identify patterns before everyone else, before these stocks make major moves. And for today's example, I wanted to talk about ISR. I didn't make the perfect trade here. I actually made a very poor trade. It was a very great trade, but there was a lot of money left on the table. But what I did do was identify this stock before most people, before it absolutely blew up, as high as 133% today, or it closed 133%. It was up almost 200% at one point today. That was just today. I started talking about this stock 2 weeks ago before it even happened. And the reason being is because it was in a Fous 4 pattern pre-breakout. And that's a lot of what I do for my subscribers and my students, is provide them with my daily watch list, which is basically a list of stocks that are pre-breakout of patterns that fit the Fous 4 criteria. The Fous 4 is basically 4 different patterns that I've been mastering over the last 10 years of trading, and it works. I'm up almost $50,000 in trading this month. I've had students make $60,000 in a few days using the strategy. One of my other students, Joe Angelo, made over $40,000 in just a few days on ZHNE. Used all that money to soup up his Mustang Camaro all the way up to 750 horsepower. You can look it up on YouTube. He actually did a full promo video just to show off his new Mustang, and even has the Fous 4 license plate on the back of his car. In addition, I also have the Fous 4 license plate on the back of my car. Looking for more people to, spread the word. It is a strategy that works. So I love to see, everyone take a plate for their state and get that Fous 4 brand stamped on. But what I'm going to do here in a second is show you on my video screen, basically kind of show you what live Fous TV looks like. Fous TV is basically a live broadcast that I do every day for the first 2 hours of every session, showing you guys exactly what I'm doing, telling you, calling out all my trades in real time, what I'm buying, how many shares I'm buying, and why. And you get to see exactly what I'm doing. Basically, you get to see this full screen that's broadcast in HD video and audio, so you see exactly what I'm doing. I'm not here to bullshit anyone. I'm not here to, just try to sell somebody on, I'm going to get you rich quick, because I'm not. That's not how this game works. You have to study your ass off. You have to put in the time to learn. I failed for 2.5 years before I ever started making money, but I've been doing this almost 10 years now, and my goal is to try to get people past those barriers that I had when I first started trading. A lot of people just show up and just want to wing it, and that's not going to be what works in this game. You have to put in the time. You have to find somebody that's done it and made it in this game and actually has success, and learn their strategy, learn how they did it. Whether it's with someone else or me. Hopefully it's me. I want you guys, I have a strategy that works. I have many testimonials, many students who are using this strategy and making money. So, I'm just presenting myself and like to show you what can be done and what is done every day. I'm up $15,000 just this week, and it's only Wednesday. But anyways, I'd like to get to it and basically give you guys a free video lesson on exactly how I've made $15,000 this week, in addition to how I spotted ISR before it literally tripled after I bought the stock. Alright guys, back here, just giving you a preview of what Fous TV looks like, and also let's talk about ISR. So this is basically what you're looking at here on Fous TV every day when I run my live broadcast. You get to see what stock is basically on my main watch here, plus what other stocks I'm looking at down here in these 3 boxes. I usually have other portfolio positions down there, but basically you're seeing a live broadcast and listening to me talk just like this, browsing different stocks, talking and trading in real time. So you get to see, and hear what stocks I'm talking about. And as soon as I buy anything, you're also hearing me say, hey, I just bought ISR 10,000 shares at 114. So this is exactly what I said this morning when I bought ISR at 114. In addition to that, I was previously in ISR in the 80-cent range, and I sold for a big gain just earlier this week. But just to kind of give you a breakdown of why I was looking at ISR, why I started looking at ISR 2 weeks ago for a potential big trade, we'll get started on that. Basically, this is all stuff that fits the Fous 4 criteria, which is basically a 14-hour training course that I provide to all my students, preferably for those who are just getting started. It's very, very important and essential to your training and to your success, and more importantly to your survival as a stock trader, to at least go through some sort of training. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you that mine's the best. I'm not going to tell you only do mine. I don't care if you go do someone else's. I don't care if you do mine. I would like for you to do mine because, obviously it's my product, but, I'm not going to be a complete dickhead and say mine's the only way to do it. But mine is a strategy that works. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. I've had students make thousands and thousands of dollars, and I've made thousands and thousands of dollars using this same exact strategy over and over and over again. So let's take a look at ISR and see why I bought and why I started looking at this about 2 weeks ago. So basically, as you can see, we started actually looking at this stock back here in the about 50 to 60 range when we first got that big spike up here on volume. So obviously, something was going on here with this stock, and that's what I like to look at: stocks that have momentum, recent volume activity, something that's make this stock a little speculative. In addition, the fact that this stock had been trading just shy of $1 per share, when the stock breaks out over $1 per share, and it's been trading under there for somewhat 6 to 9 months or more, I call this a gold pattern. Basically a stock that forms up some sort of triangle pattern leading into the breakout of $1. The $1 per share is a huge area of support and resistance that signifies a major move to the upside, especially if there's not much resistance previously at $1. But I love playing the dollar roll, is what you usually call it in chat. And that's where I've made a lot of my gains in March, are playing stocks that were hitting the dollar roll. And when those dollar rolls are firing, you can definitely make a lot of money. But you have to be able to identify those patterns. You have to be able to know how to trade them and, identify different entry points. So if we look back here at ISR prior to breaking out, I was sitting here trying to buy this stock in the 80-cent ranges. So we're basically, looking at this triangle pattern, and this was on the watch list every day, saying, hey, watch ISR. This thing was being stubborn because it kept spiking up and just wasn't firing over this 90-cent range. So I got in and out of this stock several times before I actually had success with it. Like I always say to my students, a lot of people buy in a stock and then it goes into the losing position and they just keep holding. And a lot of times the stock doesn't rebound. In this case, the stocks have been hot, so they've been rebounding and firing. But I did sell the stock. I actually had about 30,000 shares at about 86 cents. I ended up losing on it and sold it for a loss. And then news was released very quickly right afterwards on this day right here. I actually got stopped out on the same exact day. I was in 30,000 shares at about 86 cents. This stock sold off to lows of the day. I believe I sold near the low a day. And I was like, well, that sucks. This thing looking like it's not going to break out, because the previous day had that false breakout and then it started selling off majorly here. But did have news out. I got right back into this stock here and ripped this thing all the way up to $1.10. And I sold and I locked in my profits the next day here. On this stock, and made some good money. I made a couple grand on that trade very, very quickly. And then this morning, this thing was still looking like it could potentially break. We're basically flagging here after this breakout over $1 per share. So when you see a stock break over one, there's typically, a very short-term move, sometimes towards a $1.20-ish zone. Like you can see here on ISR, we kind of halted out near 120, and now we kind of flagged. And then today, this thing just absolutely exploded. As you can see here, this stock started at 110. So you might be asking, why did you know that this stock was going to do this pattern? Or why did you think that it might be actually making a big move here? And that's a good question. It's basically a strategy that I teach in Fous 4 Part 2, which is more so day trading techniques. The daily chart is basically a gold pattern here. So basically, if we look back here, this is basically a gold pattern breakout here. This thing has been trading under $1 per share for 6 to 9 months, over a year, and it started ripping over $1. So it's a very, very bullish sign. And then this thing just absolutely exploded hugely today. So then going forward, let's look at this candle. You don't really know what that means. You don't know what's going on here, but each one of these candles is writing its own story. There's a whole day of trading that happens within this stock, where this thing was up and it was down. And to be able to understand that, you have to understand intraday charting, and that's what I teach in Fous Part 2. And how I identify these stocks is typically what I call an F1 pattern, which is basically a stock pattern that happens intraday. That's almost identified within the first 30 minutes of every major move that you'll see on any stock on any given day. So that's my favorite time to trade, is in the mornings within the first 2 hours. And that's why I run Fous TV for only the first 2 hours, because that's typically when most of the action is. And then after that, I kind of get burnt out on trading or speaking for 2 hours. I can't just do it all day long. I want to jump off a bridge. But going forward here on ISR, we'll see basically where I bought in, and I'll tell you why. So coming all the way back here to the open. So basically, here's the opening price. This is the first candle of the day. Right here, ISR is not really doing much. You can see, for the first, 15-20 minutes, we're just sitting right here at 111, 110. So I had, radared this in my chat room, saying, hey, check out ISR. This is still on the watch list. We just got done trading this last week, or earlier this week. We just sold it and made that nice profit. And basically, I was waiting for this to break out of what I call an F1. An F1 is typically a stock that has some kind of spike in the morning. On an intraday chart. This is a 1 minute chart, and as soon as that stock forms a high a day here, you can kind of consider that a potential F1. You want to see a flag that's formed on the intraday scale. So as soon as this started ramping up here, I actually went in a little bit lighter than I usually would like to do. I wish I would have gone in 20 to 30,000 shares of ISR. But I had 2 failed trades right out of the gates this morning for small losses that were failed F1s. So I was a little hesitant to go in heavy here, and that's trading. You never know which stock is going to make the biggest moves, but you give them the best, give them all a shot. That's what trading is. You want to be diversified among the best looking stocks. You go at a multitude of them, not just one at a time. You have to be diversified, because you never know which ones are going to be the biggest huge gainers that rip, just like this stock, 133% on the close today. So, but it's all identified with the initial morning F1 breakout pattern. So I actually went long right here at 114. I went long 10,000 shares, anticipating a potential breakout over 115. So as soon as that breaks out 115, the previous high of earlier this morning, that's an F1 intraday breakout trigger. In addition, since we had this very, very bullish gold pattern here on the daily chart, looking like it might make a potential continuation, because we're barely above $1 on this gold breakout pattern, and on gold patterns typically the price target is around $2 per share. So I was anticipating at least a pretty big move. I wasn't anticipating a move to $3 per share. I have no idea that stock was going to do that, nor does anybody, but I was able to identify right when the stock began its move upwards of $3 per share. And that's what's important, being able to identify the patterns before they happen, or right when they are happening, and then you trade it the best you can. As long as you can take a piece of that chunk and identify that move and get a piece of that pie, that's the best you can do. You're never going to make the perfect trade, so don't get down on yourself or kick yourself for not getting out at the exact right moments. As long as you're identifying these patterns and being able to make a profit, that's the best you can do, because no one's psychic. No one knows what any stock's going to do at any given time. All you can do is do the best you can and try to find patterns that make certain moves, and try to do it the best you can. And that's all I did here today on ISR. So I bought it at 114, and I started taking profits up here in the 120 to 140 range, and I got out. So we kept ripping up here. I believe my last sell was right up here in the 140s. I sold my last 2,500 shares at about 146. So at this point, we were up huge, and I was like, hell yeah, that was an awesome trade. And then from here, this stock just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding, and I'm grinding. I'm like, holy shit, this stock's at $3 per share. And that was huge from initial rally right here. We got in at 86 cents, and we identified that pattern based on the Fous strategy. How high these stocks go, you never really know, but it's all about being able to identify these patterns, because we know that these stocks can and will make major moves. So that was ISR. This was a Fous gold pattern. A similar one that I just made $6,700 on, it closed out my profit on Monday, was MNGA. A very similar pattern that was reviving. I call this a survival or a revival pattern. But you can see it was also a stock that was breaking out back over $1 per share. So you can see this thing ripping up here. This was on the watch list previous to this breakout at 90 cents. or 92 cents. You can see this barrier. So that's what's very, very good and very important about my service is I offer these watch lists where you can see these stocks that I'm watching, saying, hey, watch this stock, MNGA. It's not just me, front running and all of a sudden you're sitting in a buy alert like, hey, chase this stock or try to catch this thing. I put these on my watch list. These are all stocks that have been identified prior to the breakout, prior to the MNGA doubling, which I will show you in a second, prior to ISR tripling, before I even bought the stock. So I'm identifying these patterns, putting them on the watch list because they fit the Fous 4 criteria that I teach in my DVDs. But if we look at MNGA here, I bought 20,000 shares at 98 cents. I sold in the 130s. I got out way too early. I got out here in the 130 area. It ripped up to 150 by the end of the day. Next day, it ramped all the way up to as high as, why isn't this loading the intraday chart? Or it ramped up all the way as high as about 185. So, this could have been, I could have made way more money than I did. I made $6,700. This could have been like a $20,000 trade. ISR could have been like a $30,000 trade. But, it's very hard to not just lock in profits when you have it. And, like I said, you can't kick yourself for not making the perfect trade. All you can do is I try to identify these patterns at their breakout points and try to get in there when you can and at least try to take some profit. So that was a few of the huge gains today. Another one was IDN. This is one that I bought in at 89.5 and now this closed up at 121. I actually sold and took my profits here for 4,900. I'll actually show you my trading screen here. So you can see I locked in. Here's my realized gain. I made $4,900 on IDN here. And actually, like I said in the video, on the first intro of this video, I was saying I made about 15,000. I'm actually up about 16 to 17,000 now because I did make $4,000 today. PTN, bidders are in at 130. This is a stock that I bought right into the close today. A similar stock. As you can see here, I bought in at 118, 10,000 or 15,000 shares. We're now up to 130 in the close. So if we look at the intraday chart here, I got in here. This is what I call an F3 pattern, a stock that breaks out into the close. So as I identified this pattern, I was looking at this stock. An F3 is basically a stock that is similar to F1, but it breaks out at a different time frame of the day. So I got in here in the 118 range. From there, it broke out highs, and now it's up to 130 after hours, 132 making highs. So I'm up an additional about $1,700 to $1,800 on this stock into the close. I sold IDN for $4,900 profit today. And so, that's what you can do with the Fous 4 strategy. There's a lot of money to be made. This is what's possible. This has been my biggest month I've ever had in trading. So now's the time to try to learn this stuff, while stocks are hot. Right now, easy money is coming in. So, I highly recommend, if you're interested in trading, come check out FousAlerts.com. Get in touch with us, give us a phone call. We have our phone number now listed on the website, and I have a full support system now in the back end. I just hired my first full-time employee to handle and manage all the subscribers and sales. So we actually have someone now to actually give you guys a little bit more information. Before I was very stumped on time to be able to handle all the customer service, plus do all these videos and try to keep all my subscribers happy. So we're continuing to get bigger, continuing to grow a better business. And anyways, there's a lot of money to be made. So if you're interested, come check out FousAlerts.com and I can teach you how to do this.
Clap along if you know what happiness